Hello, good morning, good afternoon. Janice, before we get going here, Urban brought up a couple of good points I just want to address to the community. So I'm gonna share my screen here, and Dell had a question too. Are these sessions recorded? The answer is yes. We do record these sessions and we share them in the community. Can everyone see my screen here?
Yep.
Yes.
Right on. So, this is the Conquer Local Academy. You'll see courses, community, and workshop. So we're playing in the community portion. So if you click on community, it'll bring you to this area here. And then specifically these community sessions, you'll find right here. So quite a few sessions actually that we've hosted, and this is Janice's third. So this will be kind of the wrapping up the 3-part mini series, but the conversation doesn't stop after this. So let's keep the conversation going. And Urban, to a couple of your points, some of the white label decks, I just want to point out a couple of these sessions where we have some of those. This one here, we did a special session, Build It With Me e-commerce websites. We did a 90-minute session, and there's actually a white label, you can watch it here, and there's a white label deck that you can do your own e-commerce website creation webinar for your clients. And there's one other one that I really like for webinars. Just want to point it out here real quick. How to win with webinars. So in this one here as well,
nice.
You'll see Michael Watkins, our VP of Success. Many team members put in a lot of time here to make a slide. So you can jump in here, check out the slides, make a copy for yourself, and you can be presenting that webinar right away. We've had quite a few partners. I don't know if there's any on the line today who have actually taken this deck, made some presentations, and generated revenue from it. So I just wanted to point those out a little bit. Specific to what you were mentioning. So I hope that helps. And Dell,
very much.
This would be the place to find it.
Perfect. Loads of information. There's no lack of that. No gaps. No gaps.
Yeah,
I have no need assessment for finding information.
Yeah, and you know what? The community is a great place to engage as well. I love to hear that, Stephen and Dell, you guys have connected in the think tank. You have very similar lighthouses and made that connection and said, hey, come and learn in the community. Right, that's what the community is about. So really happy to hear that that everyone's engaging in those meaningful ways. So let's keep it going. And I know today, Janice, we have a lot to cover, don't we?
We do. Clock is ticking.
Awesome. Well, hey, I don't want to take up any more time. So for everyone, we are recording this. We'll be popping in the community afterwards, just like we said. And Janice, maybe for the new folks who are joining us, would you mind just giving a brief background, and then you can get right into it after that.
Yeah, sure. I'd love to. So just as a recap, in the previous sessions, we've talked about how to conduct a powerful initial consultation. We sent you guys out a sheet that you could take notes on when you're doing your presentation with a prospect. And before that, we talked about what did we talk about, Andrew? How to prepare for the initial consultation. So doing a quick 10-minute marketing checkup so that when you get to this initial consultation, you've already got an idea of who you're talking to, what their pain points might be, and you've created a list of questions that you're going to ask this prospect to help drive the conversation. I talked about how I use my website as my brochure, as my talking points. JaniceChristopher.com. Feel free to look at it. A lot of you have given me feedback because you found broken links and things that didn't work. So feel free to pick it apart and let me know if you find something that's broken. My Corso, I still can't figure out what broken link you're trying to show me. So maybe you could help me later. So we talked about getting ready for the appointment and being really ready, giving a powerful initial presentation, ending that initial presentation with the request that your prospect pay you to do this digital marketing assessment. And the whole reason we do that is because we're setting ourselves up as marketing consultants, not salespeople. so that when you get to the point, which we're going to talk about today, where you're going to sell solutions, your prospect is already like, I know you're doing a good job for me because you didn't just come right at me and try to sell me stuff. You did a needs assessment. I believe in you. This makes sense to me. You've educated me. And then today we're also going to talk about how we deliver solutions through Vendasta, what our onboarding process looks like, and then we're going to spend some time talking about the path to upselling and deepening those client relationships. And we'll talk about how we do it. We'll talk a little bit about the Vendasta marketing services team and how to get the most out of them so that you and your clients are always delighted. So before we start, I'd love to know where you're from, especially if it's somewhere exotic. Let us know in the chat. And then also, those of you that came to session 1 and 2, Andrew and I would love to know what your biggest takeaways were. What were the most meaningful things that you heard during these sessions that are going to really help you turn your business around or do more business? We all love that.
Who's been in sessions 1 and 2 that would love to provide some feedback for the group here? Philippines, Eve. Hey, Nate, I saw you raise your hand first. Nate, we'd love to hear from you. What did you find most valuable? What interesting from the past 2 sessions?
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you, Janice. This has really been awesome, you sharing this. I've been a Vendasta partner since the end of 2017. And all the tools that they've been putting together, like even in the last 6 months, have just been awesome. I mean, really, they're a turnkey solution for an agency. But what I've really gotten out of this last couple of meetings was just charging for that snapshot review. That's really going to be a game changer for me because you spend a lot of times with people, and even these last couple that I've been doing that were already on the books, they're on their computer, they're on their iWatch looking at text coming in. I honestly think if they're spending $349 for that meeting, they're going to shut everything off and give the attention all to me at that point. And I think that's the biggest thing that I'm getting out of this.
That's exactly right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nate. Any other? I saw a couple of others. Mike, you've been to one, but you had some feedback. Would love to hear it. Mike from MarketPie.
I think I shared it last time, but the one extra thing that I was thinking about was to really have a checklist and a flow chart of everything that needs to get done in those meetings. And I don't think it's about taking away flexibility, because sometimes we feel that we don't want to be held down to this. We got to be able, and that's what I said. People ask me, Mike, how do you do yours sessions? I'm like, I don't know. I kind of free flow it, but I've actually made a commitment now to write down what exactly I do, because it allows you to have that consistent service, and also it gives you more freedom to think because you have the checklist to fall back on. So that's the one big one that I took away.
Nice. That's awesome. Thanks, Mike.
Good.
And Stephen Kelch, did you have some feedback?
Yeah, I thought it was really a fantastic presentations. I've really enjoyed all of them so far, and I'm sure I'm going to enjoy this one today. The thing that I took away is that how Janice actually makes it so understandable how you should go step by step in a process, because in order to win in this game, you have to have a process, which is very vital. And of course, the big takeaway, shut your mouth.
I love it.
Great pause. Great pause.
When we are that trusted guide for our clients and our potential clients, they expect us to have a process, because making marketing decisions is already chaotic. There's a lot for them to have to learn. There's a lot of friction there for them to kind of understand what we're saying and buy into the fact that it will really help them. So if we can take away the friction by saying, here's what we're going to do first, second, and third, just follow me, I'll take you through, and it's not going to be difficult, then they can, and they can trust us. So that's a great observation.
Everyone's on a journey, and if you can guide them along and show them that process, that customer journey, right? You have that with your clients, and their clients will have that with their customers too. So a lot of this that you go through, you can have that conversation with them to help them understand, why you have that process, and then why it's worth them investing in a process too. So
yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone.
I see that Ryan Mason is asking, it would be really nice to have a list of really important questions to ask during the 15 to 30 minute free consultation call. So if you go back to the first session and you pick up the document that I created to help you get ready for that first session, it'll take you through the marketing stack and prompt you to ask some questions. Like, so tell me, who's managing your website right now and what's your relationship like with them? You already know, because you might have done a scan and the site hasn't been updated in months, or it doesn't have an SSL. So you look at what you see during that process that you're going to go through before you have the initial call. You're going to pick apart their whole marketing situation, and you're going to ask some questions. Tell me how you're managing your listings right now. So for example, how often do you update your Google listing? You may already know that they haven't claimed it. Their pictures are from 2014. They haven't responded to a review. So tell me about your reputation process. Who's responding to your reviews? You already know they're not. So as you're going through that checklist that I gave you, it should be very simple for you to kind of become, like a detective. And you're asking questions you already know the answer to, like a good lawyer. You would never take your person up in court, your witness, and ask them a question not knowing what they're going to answer. So when you prepare for that initial call, you already know the answers to the questions, mostly. Does that make sense?
Nice. I saw him reply with, you're so amazing.
Good.
Maybe it was more of like you're so amazing.
Yeah. See, you already knew the answer, you guys. You already knew the answer. All right, let's get rolling, shall we? I have this huge agenda. Thank you, Mike from Market Pie. Okay, so remember, if you were on the last session, we got a lead, right? Somebody referred this person in Los Angeles who has a mental health practice to us. We conducted a very powerful initial consultation with PAX Therapy, and we sold a snapshot process. We did our preparation. We debriefed the client, who was then a prospect on the snapshot, and that debrief took about an hour or so. So now we're at the end of the snapshot debrief, and we want to turn this person into a client, right? So here's a quick peek. Oh, before we move on, I want to just talk about, especially if you missed the other sessions, why do we charge for the snapshot report? This is actually a chance to position yourself as a consultant, and it also gives the prospect a chance to hear what a marketing consultant has to say about their actual digital presence. So we've explained everything to them, and maybe for the first time ever, it's a little bit less mysterious to them, and maybe for the first time ever, they can relax because they know that you've got them covered. And, I always say to people, we want to get you onto the first page of Google, as close to the #1 position as possible. And so all these different solutions I'm going to recommend each play a little role in helping you get there, because there's a lot of money to be made on the first page of Google and not a lot of money to be made on the other pages. So let's get you to the first page. And so people, if you've done a good job with the snapshot debrief and weaving in your recommendations, they're usually pretty excited at this point to get started. So as I'm going through the debrief, right, and I'm talking about maybe advertising, or let's just say listings, I'm showing them where they stand, and I'm also getting agreement that we'd like to fix it, right? So right now, Ms. Prospect, your listings are kind of in hiding. I found 18 listings out of a potential at least 75. And wouldn't it make sense for us to take up more space online, correct some of these things, put your hours in, your COVID update? And so usually as I'm going along, I'm getting agreement. Yeah, I'd like to fix the listings. Yeah, I'd like to, let the data aggregators know who I am. So as I'm going through, I'm making it clear and obvious that at the end of this call, sometime soon, I'm going to be sending out a quote for services. So, and I'm saying to her, so just so I can make sure that I send you out the right quote, you want to have us manage your listings, right? You want us to give you a way to manage and monitor your reputation, right? And she's saying, yes, yes, yes. And I'm just taking notes. So at this point, at the end of the call, I know exactly what quote I'm going to send out for services. She knows approximately how much it's going to be for, because I want to handle any objections right away while we're on the phone and we're both feeling warm and fuzzy. And so when she gets the quote, it's basically a done deal, except she's just got to complete the paperwork. So here's some things that you may want to write down. But the first thing that happens after the snapshot debrief is that I've set up a templated email to go out. It says, here are your reports. So I've popped in the links for the snapshot report, the listing scan, and the website scan that I ran. And it says, here's your stuff. This is why I told you didn't have to take notes during this call, because I'm sending you all this. And we'll be in touch soon with your quote. Stand by. I set that up to go out an hour after the appointment starts. So if I started my appointment at 11, at noon, that email is going to go out. I don't have to think about it again. I set it up a couple of days before. The next thing that happens is we send out a quote for services. The client signs and accepts the quotes. We use a hello sign situation where they're accepting it. Then we send out our credit card authorization form and our client service agreement. So if you don't have a way of sending out a professional quote, collecting credit card information securely, if you don't have a service agreement written by an attorney, I would suggest you focus on that. I know that Vendasta is working on bringing all that into the platform, which makes it super easy. So for us, we created it from scratch. You may not have to, but I can't stress enough how important it is that when your client or prospect receives these things from you, that you're just continuing to build this idea that you really know what you're doing. They're not your first client. You know how to get a quote out. You know how to get it signed. It just adds to your, like, sort of how fabulous you are because you're efficient. I once had someone say to me, wow, you're as efficient as the government with all this stuff. And I thought, is that actually a compliment, or they meant it as a compliment? But so, yeah, so get that done for yourself. So once all that paperwork has been completed and they're really a client, they've signed our service agreement, which says that our contract lasts a year. Either of us can cancel with 30 days notice if we decide we're not enjoying the relationship. We've got their credit card on file. Now we're sending out an email from one of our staff members here saying it's time to do your onboarding. So please set up, an appointment. Here's the link. And by the way, here are your login credentials to Business Center. Here's your email, and here's the password we've created for you. We use a format for passwords for clients, so we always know what it is. It's their last name starting with a capital, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So if our clients are ever like, yeah, what's my password? It's your last name, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just keep it simple for your team. So I'm just curious, we're going to talk about Business Center or Business app at this point. How many of you check to see which of your clients are logging into their Business Center app regularly? So type in yes to the chat if you're checking to see that your clients are using Business Center, or no if you don't. Wes says, ha. Okay, big opportunity, a lot of yeses. That's great.
A lot of yeses.
So
I'm impressed.
Are you impressed, Andrew? Not
Yeah.
yet. Okay, so this is one of those things that you can use as a touch point. Somewhere here in my presentation, I'm going to talk about keeping in touch with your clients in between appointments. This is one of those things where you could just send them an email or a text message and say, you know what? You're the best client in terms of logging in and checking their accounts this week. You've logged in, and I really appreciate that you do, and I'm glad you're getting the most out of our relationship. So it just gives you another touch point. And if they're not logging in, we know what to do, don't we?
Janice, there is a good question in the chat. Okay. How do you check this?
I'm going to let you answer that, Andrew, because you're the expert.
So there's a couple of ways that you can check that in the platform, you know, above and beyond just keeping in regular communication with your clients. But you can see that information in Sales and Success Center now. So there is an analytics table that you can
Do you
go
want to
into.
share your screen?
I don't really have a
Right
demo
up?
of Sales
Okay.
and Success Center.
Okay.
That'd be able to pop on right now. But you know, if you'd like to learn more about Sales and Success Center in that way, definitely reach out to your Vendasta rep. We can show you more about that. We also have those learning courses in the Conquer Local Academy that will help understand you know, how to use it in that way. But so there's two ways in the platform. Sales and Success Center, you can check out the analytics table. So something that's really nice about it is that you can see more than just login engagement. So you can see who's connected their Google My Business, who's connected their Facebook, you know, days they've logged in, how many times they viewed the executive report, those types of things. So you can also use it to track engagement that way. And we also added in who's online is what we call it. So right on top of, you know, whenever you're looking at the accounts, you can now see who's online. So who's in Business Center. So for example, if you're, you know, using the local business online toolkit approach and you're just wondering, are these people actually going in? And then you'll see it, you'll see, hey, they're online right now. What a fantastic opportunity to reach out. And so that can just be a really quick check. You're in Sales and Success Center, your login notes anyways about other opportunities, and you just see, oh, hey, you know, Wes is online. That's good. You know, maybe make a note or something like that. So those are a couple of ways that you can do it in the platform above and beyond just talking to the client and yeah, I've been in there. I go in there all the time. Yeah. Do they? You know, so
Yeah, right.
kind of sneaky.
Yeah. Thank you, Andrew. So I've heard through the grapevine, I'm not going to say who told me this, but that there are Vendasta partners who haven't really fully embraced the awesomeness of the Business Center for their clients, now called Business App. You may have noticed this week you got a notice about that. So here's my take on it. You would do well to leverage the heck out of this. Show it off as if it was your pride and joy, because it should be. You're subscribing to this, you're investing in your business every month so that your clients can have this awesomeness. So during my snapshot debriefs, I'm featuring the business app as part of my presentation. I want my prospect to know what it's going to look and feel like when, not if, when they become our client. So I'm telling them that we have this great app and it pulls all of their marketing information together. During the debrief, we're walking through it. We're looking at Listing Builder. We're looking at the data aggregators that have all the red X's. We're looking at the reputation management piece. So before I have my debrief, I'm activating all the express products for this prospect so that when I walk them through the app, it looks already really full and there are things I can click on. And so I drive home the point that this is what makes working with us completely different than any experience they've ever had in their life. That most of our prospects have worked with some kind of advertising vendor, some kind of marketing vendor, some kind of website person, some kind of social media person, and it's all very disjointed. And they didn't really know what they were doing or if it was working or if it was worth the investment. So now we're letting them know that not only do they have us, but they have this wonderful app that pulls it all together. We'll send them out notifications if they get a review or when listings go accurate. And so we're letting the clients know that we really value them and transparency. We value performance indicators and numbers, and that we're going to be talking with them about these every time we meet. So they have the comfort of knowing like, well, I can make this investment and Janice is going to show me that it's working. So that's pretty cool. So every marketing decision we make is based on facts as much as possible. So, and here's another thing I do. I show them the Business Center for another client or two, and I have permission from certain clients that I can use their account as a show and tell. So if they've got a ton of things activated, it's easy for me to go in and say, and when we do SEO on your website eventually, here's what it could look like, and see how the results are. Isn't that fantastic? Or here's what it would be like if you had a chatbot. This would notify you that you have a new chat going on. So I use these other clients as examples so that this new prospect can get an idea of where we might be going. Because today, I'm not going to sell everything. I'm not going to activate everything on day one of the relationship. But I want them to get really excited and see that there's a path for them so that when I meet with them every month, they're not surprised that I'm saying, maybe it's, it's been 4 months, let's do some SEO. So when I onboarded Kristen from Pax Therapy, she was so excited. She was literally sitting in her chair clapping about the business center. This is fantastic. I love this. This is great. And she just couldn't say enough good things about it, which was exciting for me too. So in terms of creating the sale now after the snapshot report, we generally start with a package that includes listings management, reputation management, and social marketing app. So if you could let Andrew and I know in the chat, are you packaging some of your solutions and selling them in a bundle? Have you figured out how to do that and why? Got some yeses. Great, working on it. You always bundle. Those three, yeah, that's the holy trinity. Listings, reputation, and social. Great, awesome. So the next thing is we need to get the client to pay the invoice. And now we're going to go back to the Vendasta Partner Center and activate the products. That makes sense, right? And depending on what the solutions are, we're going to have very little interaction with marketing services or vendors, or a lot of interaction with the vendors. But we'll go in and activate the products, reach out to any specialists that we need, and get those products activated, like let's say digital advertising or SEO if we're starting right away. I don't know about you guys, but I love having these vendor resources, not only because we have the solution, but because those vendors are subject matter experts in what they do. Every time I talk to Mike Vossen on the digital ads team, I become a better salesperson of digital advertising. And for our agency, that's one of our primary areas of business. So if I can spend some time with Mike Vossen designing a new account, a new case, and I learn something, I integrate that into my speak. And I get better and better and better because Mike Vossen is happy to teach me. Also, I was working with Rob Kafka at Net Success. They do the offsite SEO. And I said to him, how come this account isn't doing so well? Like they used to do, they were on the first page of Google and now they've slipped. He goes, let me check something. He checks and he goes, their domain is about to expire in October. Make them re-register their domain for 5 years and it'll go back up. Simple, powerful. So I reached out to all the clients that had that situation. I said, hey, your domain's expiring in October. It's expiring in September. It's expiring in 18 days. Now, do you think that they appreciated me for that? Yes, but also I learned something really valuable about how SEO works when your domain is expiring. So let's put this whole vendor relationship into some context. I want to say to you that if your vendors, first of all, you should be in contact with your outside vendors and even with Vendasta. But let's say you're using a vendor for SEO. Check in with them. Check in with them once a month or so. This is how we do it at the JCA. We want to make sure that before we meet with our clients, we know what's happening with the account. And we want to hear the vendor tell us, hey, here's what you need to do. Re-register the domain or put up some new content, or you have a broken link here. We want to be in touch so that they can do a good job for us. And we're positioning ourselves as the expert that's hiring the vendor. We're using this outside vendor for SEO or whatever it is, so that if the vendor goofs up or the situation doesn't work out, we can always go back to our client and say, that didn't really work out. I want to try something different. So I'm not getting fired. I'm firing the vendor. Does that make sense? Okay. Oh, and I want to talk about teams really quickly. Let your client know that you have a team, that it's not just you. And if you think you don't have a team, we should talk, because you do have a team. You have a team at Vendasta. their marketing services team, and the other vendors you're using, they're all on your team. Talk about it. Talk about your team and that you have subject matter experts. That way, if there's a question you can't answer, you can say, you know what, let me talk to my subject matter expert on digital ads. I'll get back to you. And I also think that one big mistake that salespeople make is positioning ourselves as salespeople. Sorry, agency owners. We don't want to position ourselves as salespeople, but as marketing consultants. We're pulling all of this together for them. So any quick questions before I move on to the next subject?
I do kind of, have a comment. I love how you brought up, you have a team, right? And that can be the vendors, Vendasta right there. You have a team with you. And also, considering, working as a team, what's appreciated by the teams is, reaching out and allowing, as much time as you can, right? To have the conversations and collect the information that's important to your next meeting, et cetera. So, not just reaching out, the day before, hey, going into a meeting, in 2 hours, maybe considering, how you would work with the team regularly and doing your best to have enough time for your teammates to collect that information and provide it to you. So yeah. I really love that comment.
Yeah, and also for you to be able to think about what you want to present to this client next as their next logical action. If you're doing everything in a hurry, you're not being creative, and we have to be creative. So let's talk about onboarding. We have this new client. She's signed our agreements. She's signed our contracts. She's paid her invoice. We've activated everything with Vendasta. And now we want to have her on a call like this with us and onboard her to the system. So the next email that went out was, remember, welcome to the Janice Christopher Agency. We'd like you to schedule your onboarding. Here are your login credentials. And we want to set up this appointment. And we really mean it. We want them to get the most out of what they're doing. We invite them to look around in the Business Center app before the call. And it works out really nicely. So I just want to say, we use a templated email for just about everything. And hopefully you guys have templated emails too, so you don't have to become a creative writer every time you want to do something. So I'd love to hear in the chat from you guys if you have a formal written onboarding process that anyone on your team could do because you know exactly what you're doing. So when you have a new client, they get onboarded, they go through the process, and you know exactly what happened. Nope, working on it. Cool. If you don't have one and you want one, let me know so that I can help you work on it. The whole point of these meetings is to help you get more successful faster. So if I can help you become more successful faster, let me know. Okay, so again, we did the onboarding. We had a lot of fun. And we highlighted the Business Center app as the way that we are different from other agencies. By the way, if I blew your mind when I said that I charge for a snapshot debrief session, would it blow your mind to know that we charge clients to use the Business Center? It's a very valuable tool. Vendasta spent a lot of time and money and resources and brain power creating it. Go ahead and make some money. Make some money off of it. Charge your clients for it. You can charge them to use it, and if 6 other people on their team want to have a login, you can charge for that too. You need assistance with onboarding. Awesome. How much do I charge? Reach out to me. So let's talk about the path to upselling, retaining, and growing our client relationships. How many of you would rather work with your existing clients and make them more valuable versus looking for a new client? Write existing in the chat. Of course, we all want new clients, but isn't it just so much easier to keep the client you have happy and then add another client? Both. Perfect. Okay. We insist on meeting with our clients regularly. It's a partnership. We're responsible for our piece, and our client is responsible for their piece. And together we enjoy whatever the outcome is. So for us, we're not a set it and forget it agency. We don't have thousands of clients. So we're in touch with our clients. Some pay for a session with me every month. They pay a 1-hour consulting fee to have me let them know how things are going and to talk about any promotions or other marketing strategies we want to implement. So it's easy to get these people on the calendar because they're paying for it. And then once we meet, we set up next month's appointment. So if it's a client that I'm meeting on the second Tuesday of the month, it's going to be always the second Tuesday of the month. We try to see clients during a 2-week time frame in any given month so that we have the other 2 weeks to take care of any homework that we had, any details that we have to flesh out, and then to prepare for the next round. So I would encourage you to work on your schedule so that you're not always doing all the things. Just do some of the things in certain weeks and don't worry about them in other weeks. So here's what the process looks like. So 2 or 3 weeks out, we reach out to our vendors. And not everyone does this. Not all Vendasta partners do this, but we really hold our vendors accountable because I'm accountable. If I get in front of a client to talk about their SEO, I want to make sure it looks amazing. Otherwise, I don't look amazing. So we reach out, we set up an appointment in advance. We collaborate with them to understand, like, how could this be even better for the client? Show us why it's already great and show us from your perspective, vendor, what you'd like to see next so that you look great. So that's fun. And I learn a lot during those calls. I become a better salesperson and I become a better deliverer of that monthly appointment. So that's 2 or 3 weeks. So now a week or 10 days out, we run through Business Center. We log in as if we're the client. We make sure it works. We look to make sure everything is connected, working. Every once in a while, you'll look at listing distribution and find out that it's glitched. It's better if you reach out to marketing services and give them a couple of weeks to fix it for you before your client even notices it. Sometimes your Google My Business listing comes disconnected or a listing is stuck in limbo. If you have a client move, sometimes listing distribution doesn't catch up and they need a nudge from marketing services. So babysit that stuff. Do it ahead of time. Don't make it an emergency.
And there's many teams that you can connect with on Vendasta side. So, there may be, marketing services with, social posting, those kinds of things. And we always have our partner success team available. They work extended hours and weekends to help ensure your success. And you can reach them several ways, directly from Partner Center. In the top right-hand corner, you'll see like a question mark icon where you can click on that. You'll see a phone number to call or a chat to start, or you can submit a ticket. And also a really simple, easy way to reach them to create a ticket is just emailing partnersuccess@vendasta.com. By sending an email to partnersuccess@vendasta.com, it'll create a ticket in our ticketing system, and somebody will assist you in that way as well. And then we also have, you can reach out to your Vendasta rep as well. And one thing that we recently did is if you're in your partner center, in the bottom left-hand corner, if you ever have a question or you're curious as to, because sometimes things change on our side, and maybe there's somebody else who is working with you, you'll see who your Vendasta rep is in the bottom left-hand corner of your partner center, and you can even click on their name, and then you can send them an email directly from there. And there's different ways to get in touch, but we wanted to do our best recently to make it easy for you to reach out and to know who to engage with to get your questions best resolved and help you be successful. So many ways, many different teams, but a lot of our teams will work together to get you in touch with the right people to help there.
Perfect. So I see we have a question from Judith about setting expectations on how long fulfillment will take. So it really depends on what the product or service is. If it's listings and listing distribution, I tell them that within 6 months, it's going to be awesome. And it's probably going to be awesome in a month, and it's going to be fantastic in 2 months, and it's going to be outstanding and amazing in 4 months. But I give them this long time frame. And then when I circle back in a month, I can say, wow, your listing score went from an F to a B+. That was fast. And if it's something more complicated like SEO or digital ads, I say it'll take us a few weeks to get up and running. We have to do the research. We have to create the keyword list. We have to get your approval on it. We have to write the ads, etc. Maybe build you a landing page. So I always kind of, what is that thing? Under promise and over deliver. I'd rather tell them it's going to take longer and then deliver it in a, quicker. So back to my agenda, even if you're not meeting with your clients for a monthly paid consultation, I think it makes a lot of sense to reach out to them once or twice during the month, just with something fun. Hey, I was looking at your account and I saw your listings went from a D to a B+. That's amazing. Hey, I was looking at the social post you put up and I really love that video that you did about having fun during COVID-19 summers. Just whatever you can glean from your looking at Business Center on their behalf, reach out to them. Wow, look at what your SEO did. Look how much organic traffic you have on your Google Analytics. Here's a screenshot. Clients love that stuff. That makes them know that you really care and you didn't just sell them, but that you're invested in the outcome. They're not going to ever want to leave you. So 2 days before my monthly meeting, I put together an agenda. I use a template. It's the same every single time. Clients love that it's the same every single time. I know this because I ask them, is this boring for you? Because it's the same every time. And they say, no, I love it. I love that we're measuring the same things every time. So the agenda starts with the client's logo, the date of the meeting. I have a line item there that says client since, so that we both know you've been my client for 2 years. I love you so much. Look at how great we're doing. And then I start with housekeeping items. What are some things that I need to clear up with you, or that we have from last month, or things that I want to bring up? And then I start with the marketing stack. I always follow the marketing stack. I totally drank the Kool-Aid on doing things in that order. I always start with advertising. What's happening with your advertising? And I'll go into Business Center, and I'll go into Tap Clicks, and I'll go into Yelp, and I'll pull off screenshots of their advertising. And in addition to the screenshots, I'm going to have a narrative saying, here's how much you're spending. Here's your click-through rate. Here's how many calls you got. Here's why I think this is fantastic. Or could you add some more budget here? Because competition is up for mental health services right now, or air conditioning services right now. Can we add another $500 here? What do you think? And I just follow the marketing stack. I put my screenshots in, and it's fun. And I'm saying, here's what was last month, and here's what's now in some cases. And the clients know that I've gotten this information from Business Center and other places that they could have done themselves, but I'm translating it to them and also giving them my opinion. At this time, I'm also saying, is your phone ringing? Because remember, my whole shtick is your phone ringing? Is your door swinging? Is your chatbot pinging? Let me know. This is your time to give me feedback. Do you think it's working? I think it's working, but what do you think? So I actually had a client call me yesterday. He goes, hey, Janice, phone's ringing, chatbot's pinging. How are you? And I'm like, yes, perfect. So I do the template. I'm ready for the appointment. And now that we're mostly meeting on Zoom, I can put anything in there I want, knowing that I'm not going to print it and use 1,000 pieces of paper and $100 worth of ink. I can make it really super fabulous looking. So again, we're setting expectations. If something's not working, we're going to say, I think it's time to switch SEO vendors. We have another one that we really like, and here's why we think you should switch, or whatever it is. It's constantly setting expectations. And if something's not working out, it's up to us, the consultant, to say, I think it's time to change what we're doing here. So we're on the same team. So you're building trust every month. And every month you want to build your basket size as well. You know that we have a lot of products and services activated, and it's hard for your client to fire you because everything is now connected to this business app. The relationship is sticky. But when we meet regularly, what you're going to find, if you're like us, is that clients ask us, like, hey, you mentioned that you could help me rewrite my website. We have a person now that has engaged us for writing services. Can we do that? Or can I start the SEO now? I know you said like month 3 or 4, but I'm in month 2 and I really like working with you. Can we talk about that SEO thing? So just keep showing up and being excited about the things you're already doing for them. On your monthly agenda, you're going to say what's coming next. So if you're not managing advertising for them yet, in that section of the agenda, still put it, but say, we're not currently managing any advertising for you. And this gives you a chance to say, hey, as soon as you're ready, we'd love to start that Google AdWords campaign for you. I think it would really be great for you. Or SEO. Sometimes we don't get to SEO for a while because maybe we're building a website for them. In that section, coming soon, that'll be the next step. And so you're always going to talk about the solutions that they need that they haven't activated yet. So they know what's coming down the pike. And in your housekeeping, you might say, I'd really like you to have a photo shoot in the spring or in the summer or whatever. We'd love to have some fresh photos for your website. And of course, you're going to orchestrate that process. So you're always thinking forward and thinking for them and with them. We want to bring that buzz. So I think we're just about, I actually have some free time, Andrew, so we can take some questions.
Absolutely. Hey, and one thing I just wanted to comment on, I love the way that you do that, coming soon. You know, it's easy for us to know the journey because we've done it so many times and we have these conversations a lot. But whenever you consider the transfer of knowledge and them understanding, you know, what those next steps might be, you know, what conversion points do we need to have in place, you know, before we go on to these next steps, you know, and then always, I think Dennis, you said it really well, right? Always hinting at what's next, right? I think that is just a very elegant and professional way of including that, coming soon.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was great. Are you open to some questions?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. You know, if anyone has some questions, I saw Janice got to, I see one question happening often, but I saw that you got to it. How much do you charge? You know,
Yeah, so I charge $149 for my hour. Probably in 2021, I'll increase it at some point because I haven't increased it in a while. And what I would say to you is whatever you're charging, just keep increasing it. You know, there was a time when I charged 10, 15 years ago, $50 an hour. And then I said, I'm worth $85 an hour. And then suddenly I felt like I had a great appointment and I was worth $125 an hour. So I arrived at the 149 as my comfort level felt really authentic with that number. My comfort level is I think I need to get paid a little more sometime soon. So I'll probably raise it. But don't be afraid to raise it by $10 or $20.
Yeah.
As long as you can authentically say it without your voice choking, you're good.
That's a good check there. Bruce,
Yeah.
I love your comment. Yes, continue to measure your worth. It's great to do that and feel that sense of pride. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I saw this question a couple of times from Nate Garcia here. What email delivery system are you using?
So we subscribe to HubSpot. So everything that we're using goes out of there. So, you know, stay tuned. Vendasta will probably have something for you really soon. HubSpot is quite the investment. It works for us right now as a great CRM and relationship management tool on all levels.
Yeah. And, you know, we are working on improving the email marketing automation in the platform. And, you know, the interesting thing that we always consider is making those connections with the different centers. So Nate, stay tuned. We're working on improving our email marketing automation right now. And, you know, and that links up with our CRM that's included, you know, Sales and Success Center. So watch for many, many improvements there. Del Todd, I can see you unmuted there. Did you have a question or a comment for Janice?
No, I didn't mean to unmute for that reason.
Oh, yeah, no worries. We'd love to get some people chatting here. Stephen Arthur, I know you've been a fantastic.
Let's answer that question from Stephen.
Yeah.
Thank you, Janice.
Yeah. So you're charging $120 per month.
Yeah.
Or with social marketing, listings, reputation, you're undercharging.
I bet.
Yeah.
I thought it might be.
Yeah. By at least $100.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would increase
Okay.
your.
It's such a valuable thing. And I'm kind of still starting out and trying to figure it all out with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, trying to feel my way and figure out what people will pay and
Don't be
how much.
afraid to raise your prices on the next
Yeah.
person you onboard.
Okay.
Yeah. And again, if anyone needs help deciding on pricing or any of these things, feel free to reach out. You know, we do some consulting with agencies like you guys. And if we can help, let us know.
Awesome. So Janice, if someone wanted to get in touch with you, what would be the best way?
Yeah, let me just, I have a little thing that I can share with you guys. So a lot of you have already reached out to me on these different platforms, but I just wanted to let you know that I would love it if you'd follow on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I've given you my handles here. Connect on LinkedIn. I know that, you know, those of you that are doing Dennis's class, you're paying a lot of attention to your LinkedIn, so feel free to connect with me there and practice your new LinkedIn skills. And then you've got my email and my office line there at the bottom.
Nice. Thanks, Janice.
You're
And
welcome.
Wes has a good question here. Are you
Okay.
using product-led growth? Like, are you using the local business online toolkit?
We have just gotten into using the toolkit. We're probably not the biggest experts on it in this room.
From what I've heard, it sounds like you know, you're already going through a lot of the motions. You know, just like if you were to use it, you know, you're already, you know, upon the first connection, you're going through the business center and you're showing them and you're walking through it. You know, having something connected, turned on, almost like tangible that they can see instead of just describing to them.
Yeah, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So if you can use the toolkit as a prospecting methodology, I'm all for it, because if your prospects can see, feel, and know what it's going to be like to be your client, and you can align your values as an agency with what was that, with what you're delivering in the toolkit, I think it could only be a win. For us, we don't prospect that way. I'm almost ready to put people on a waiting list for when they can become a client. So we don't do a lot of that kind of prospecting. But if you do, I think you should use the heck out of it.
I saw Stephen Couch. Did you just print something off there?
Oh, you printed it. Sorry about see, I wouldn't have made it so expensive to print if I knew you were going to do that.
Jack Zenert. I see that you posted, you have a question. If you want to unmute and ask your question.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you there.
Janice, I'm wondering about how do you handle it when you're trying to get the business owner, decision maker, versus they have like a marketing person, whether it's outside person or one of their admin staff or somebody, that to kind of get to the, you know, what's your tactics to get to the actual decision maker, but the decision maker isn't as knowledgeable and maybe even the marketer isn't as knowledgeable.
So I think what you're asking, Jack, is what if I'm in a situation where I'm meeting with, let's say, the marketing director of a company, but the marketing director is not really the decision maker?
Exactly.
Is that right?
Yeah, exactly.
I would never have that meeting. I've done that before, and it's terrible. Because what happens is typically the marketing director of the company, this probably a medium-sized business, feels a little bit threatened by you because they think you're going to take their job away. And so I would always say, if I come across a marketing director, I'm going to make you look like a rock star. And in small and medium-sized, especially family-run businesses, they have someone in the office who knows how to log into the Google listing, does the social media posting, you know, tries to update things as best they can, interacts with the web developer. But that person is also probably a customer service rep for the company. They're doing other things and they're doing the marketing like as a piece of their job, but they really are not experts at it. I love that situation because that person gets invited to all the meetings. They're at the initial consultation and they're there through the entire process. because I want to make sure that that person knows that I'm going to make their life easier. I'm going to give them tools. I'm going to give them training. We're going to keep in touch. They're going to have us as a resource. So if you're in a situation where there's like a gatekeeper between you and the marketing director, I would keep it very short. I wouldn't spend a lot of time. Get paid for a snapshot report, tell them what you know, but really you need the decision makers there from the beginning.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Welcome. I'm the
That's awesome. Voltaire, I can see that you raised your hand there. Do you have a question for Janice?
Yeah, hey, how's it going? Hopefully you can hear me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. Janice, thank you so much for doing this. This is awesome. I was just actually wondering, how do you handle churn and what is your churn rate? And, you know, supposing that a client wants to end services, you got all these things tied into Business Center.
Yeah.
And now we're like, all right, well, you're going to stop services, so everything goes away, or how are you approaching that?
Everything goes away. So churn is not fun, right? And a lot of us probably experienced it in March, April of this year because we had some clients who panicked. And in spite of our best efforts to, you know, save the accounts they left. How do I handle it? I feel angry and upset. That's the first thing that happens. I ask myself questions like, do we deserve to be fired? Did we drop the ball somewhere? Or was the churn like totally not related to anything having to do with us or our service or our handling of the client? Sometimes we screw up and clients leave and we're like, you know what? We did not enjoy working with you. And so we didn't do our best work and you didn't see the best side of us. And let's make room for another ideal client. But when we cancel, we cancel. So as soon as that subscription runs out, like let's say it renews on the 20th of the month and today's the 10th, we'll let it run out, but we'll cancel it. We package up their website, send it out to them, and goodbye. Having said that, I had a client cancel offsite SEO with Net Success, and we sent them out a thing saying, here were your results. Why would you cancel this? No reply. So, you know, churn is unfortunately part of what we deal with as agency owners. And that's why the systems that we've designed here are created to keep in touch with the client so that if there's any inkling of a problem, we know ahead of time. We're proactive. We don't want churn to happen if we can help it.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Well, everyone, we're right at the end of the session. Anyone have plans to celebrate? What day is it tomorrow? What number of day is it tomorrow? July 4th. I'm sure there's quite a few folks here who are excited for a pretty fun weekend. We just had our Canada Day up here on Wednesday, so happy belated Canada Day to all the Canadians, and happy 4th of July to all of our American friends and partners. And you know what, I hope everyone you know, really enjoyed these sessions. Again, I can't say thank you enough, Janice. Let's give it up for Janice. Thank you very much for, you know, for taking the time. It's a lot of work, you know, thinking about all of this and putting together such a wonderful mini series here for our partners. I know you've made a positive impact for a lot of people, so thank you.
It was really my pleasure. What a great audience we've had, and your participation has been wonderful and your kind words have been much appreciated. And I just love these sessions that you've created, Andrew, and how we can get together and see each other as colleagues and not competitors and just share best practices. This is a hard business. So knowing that we have people out there that can help us and, you know, and hear us and really know what we're going through is so important.
Absolutely. So thank you again, Janice, and thank you to everyone else for spending your Friday of what you may have made a long weekend with us. You know, for those of you, I've been on holidays all week, but this is my favorite hour of the week. So I'm popping in, you know, for this community session, and I'm off to the beach right after this. So believe it or not, there are beaches in Saskatchewan. I'll be at one of them.
Hey, Andrew, would you send me the transcript of the chat so that I can follow up with folks?
Absolutely, yeah.
Thank you.
You know, everyone, be safe. You know, stay well. Have a great weekend, And, you know, we have the Conquer Local think tank with Dennis Yu later today. And I also wanted to mention that we do have our Vendasta Executive Roundtable next week as well. Special time where you can connect with Brendan King, our CEO, and other execs, and you know, have a chat about how you're finding things with Vendasta, questions, insights. So watch for that invite in the Conquer Local newsletter this week if you haven't registered already. So that'll be next week, and we'll have this session again next week. You know, so this is a weekly thing. So thanks again, everyone. Keep well and stay safe.
Thanks, Andrew. Bye-bye, everyone.
See ya.
Thanks, Andrew. Thanks, Janice.
Thanks, Andrew. Thanks, Janice.